What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's YouTube video. Today my goal is to go over a concise way to lose fat in 2024. Now I could talk about nuances forever, but I'm gonna go over the basics, more so the fundamentals, and then we can talk about some minor specifics later on, or if you have any questions, definitely leave them down in the comments below. But I'm gonna go ahead and shift over. I've done this on a whiteboard before, but I always feel like the whiteboard is really hard to read. So I'm gonna get over enough on the frame so we can go ahead and I'll put up actual like text in post in my editing. So I'll have all the information up here, maybe some boxes and stuff like that. The first thing we're gonna go over is our diet. And I do have some notes. I'm gonna be looking down at my computer to reference those. But the first thing we're gonna do is establish the calories we need to consume in our calorie deficit. Or once again, the calories you need to consume to lose body fat, which is required by a calorie deficit. And the big thing there is, once again, we wanna be about 500 calories below our maintenance. And Jack, how do you find your maintenance? Well, a couple of ways. So one, I think is a good guesstimate, is to take your body weight and multiply it by 12. That's probably the simplest way, but not always, once again, the most accurate. Another way is to log on to the TDEE calculator online and then go ahead and type in your information. It'll be asked for your height, your weight, your age, and I think like how active you are. I would pretty much tell everyone go low activity or sedentary, since most of us are not working construction jobs, manual labor, 8 hours a day. Yes, we might work out. Yes, we might, once again, have some after work activities, but for the most part, we're pretty sedentary. So go with light activity and see what that gives you. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna take that number and we're gonna go ahead and subtract 500 calories from it. That's gonna give us about a 1 pound of fat loss per week deficit that we're looking for. But the big thing here is that's something you have to actually manage. I'm gonna touch on it later, but you have to weigh yourself on a daily basis to see, are you actually losing 1 pound of fat per day? And you can maybe be slightly more aggressive and maybe go to a 750 calorie deficit. Because if you're a 200 plus pound guy, you can probably lose a little bit more than 1 pound per week. I like to aim for most of my clients right around 1% of their body weight per week. So if you're 200 pounds, closer to 2 pounds, but if you're, once again, I would say between 100 to 170 pounds, probably 1 to 1.5 pounds of weight loss per week is a good rate of weight loss. All right, I feel like I need to pick things up because I want to do this in under 10 minutes. But as far as macros go, honestly, the most important thing is protein. Make sure we're getting at least 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight in terms of protein. And then fat should be a minimum. I think take your body weight, multiply by 0.2, and that should be the minimum fat. So for most people, your fat shouldn't really drop below 30. They are fats are very important for your hormone balances as well as nutrition absorption. Next, we'll go ahead and dive into micros. So the big thing there is fiber. I definitely recommend about 10 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories of intake. But the biggest thing there is highly recommend trying to push for 2 to 3 servings of fruits and 2 to 3 servings of vegetables a day. It'll help minimize any sort of diet fatigue. It'll help keep you full. It'll help, once again, increase your fiber amount. And then once again, the micronutrients are great for, once again, longevity and overall health. Next, we're gonna make sure we're staying hydrated. So hydration is very important. If we're not staying hydrated, if your pee's yellow, just drink more water. I like to aim for around 1 gallon a day, but I realize for a lot of people that can be overdoing it. So just stay hydrated. And if you are, once again, if your urine's yellow, drink more water. And as far as food goes, once again, there is no perfect diet. There is no perfect food. It's what you enjoy, what fits your lifestyle best. If you don't wanna have any chicken breasts, no problem. Shrimp, protein powders, egg whites, eggs, ground turkey, ground beef, whatever it is, there are loads of proteins out there, but we want to find what works best for you, what you enjoy eating. And as far as meal timing, I always get that question, whatever works best for your schedule. I think for most people, 6 meals is way too many per day. 2 is probably a little bit too few to get all your protein in. So I typically recommend 3 meals with 1 to 2 snacks, and those snacks being a high protein snack, like a Greek yogurt, something like cottage cheese, a protein bar, protein shake, beef jerky, something easy on the go that's high protein. The last thing to do with diet, once you have your calories set, your protein, micronutrients, as well as meal timing, would be at the very, very top would be some supplements. I highly recommend a protein powder, but I personally categorize that as just another food source. And then if you want to add things like a multivitamin, a fish oil, or some caffeine, those can also help greatly with the fat loss process. So that was quite a bit, and we'll head over to training. Once again, we're trying to keep this short and sweet, so if you have any questions about the diet, definitely leave them down in the comments below. Next, we'll go to training. So as far as training goes, 1, I want you to do something you enjoy, but 2, I also want you to realize that some resistance training is going to be very important in the fat loss phase. If you're just looking to lose weight, do all the cardio you want. I don't care about resistance training. But if we're trying to lose fat and maintain the muscle we have, which for most people they want to do, they want to go for that quote unquote toned look, which is more muscle, less fat, we want to do some resistance training. I highly recommend a 4-day split of an upper, lower split each week. So you can kind of break that down to whatever best fits your schedule, but a rough estimate would be Monday, upper body day, Tuesday, lower body day, rest Wednesday, Thursday, another upper body day, Friday, a lower body day, and then Saturday and Sunday rest. So you have 4 workouts to do, or resistance training workouts to do within 7 days, and then you can add cardio to kind of supplement those resistance training days. As far as those resistance training days, I would say for the upper body, we just want to do around 1 exercise per muscle group, but something bigger like the back or the chest, maybe we do 2 exercises. So as example, once again, I have loads of examples on my page, so rather than going through every single example would be a horizontal push, so tell me through the chest, a horizontal pull, some sort of row, a vertical press, which would be some sort of shoulders, a vertical pull, which would be a pull down, and then something for like the biceps and triceps. I think that's a great way to kind of structure a program, anywhere from 2 to 3 sets per exercise, and then around, I would say 5 to 15 reps per exercise as well. But the big thing there is, once again, find what you enjoy. There are loads and loads of free programs out there. I have a bunch on my channel as well. So find a program split you enjoy, but I highly recommend for most people, 4 days per week will be plenty. If you have more time, 5 can be great as well. And as far as our training, we want to prioritize proximity to failure, at least 0 to 2 reps in reserve, so our training intensity is there and we give our body a reason to keep the muscle on. And as far as cardio goes, there's 2 types typically. There's HIIT and there's LIST. HIIT is the high intensity cardio, which was like running sprints, doing things like burpees, maybe like an F45 class, something like that. And then there's things like LIST, which is the low intensity steady state cardio, which can be like walking, maybe doing a slow elliptical, a stationary bike that's not super intense, stuff like that. I highly recommend having more LIST in your program if you have time for it, because HIIT can be a little bit more taxing on the body and might not be as most efficient in terms of recovery when it comes to, in combination with our resistance training. LIST will help us with recovery a little bit more while still helping us burn calories. My favorite way is just to aim for about 10,000 steps a day, and if you have time, you can add additional cardio sessions into your program. Once again, I'm trying to keep this short and sweet, not getting into too much detail, so this can be under 10 minutes. And the last thing is going to be all about kind of life and actually implementing what we just went over as far as training nutrition, because it's a lot easier said than done. So a couple key things. 1, we want to prioritize our sleep. Make sure that sleep is basically, I would say, your highest priority. You're not waking up at 5 a.m. after going to bed at midnight on 5 hours of sleep to go get your 10,000 steps in. That would not be a good use of your time and a misuse of priority. Like time management, once again, it's going to take some planning. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you don't take what you're currently doing that has gotten you to, once again, a state of obesity or a state where you're not super confident, you have a little more fat, we need to change that, right? Because if we don't change our habits, we don't change our timing, we don't make this a priority, nothing's going to change. So that's a big thing to realize too, is it's a lifestyle change, it's habits change. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some effort. But once again, the results will pay off. I can guarantee you that. I don't think anyone's ever lost the weight, gotten better shape, and not been happy with the changes they made along the way. Another thing we want to watch is our cortisol levels, or essentially our stress. So I highly recommend finding ways to manage your stress. Once again, this can be anything from yoga, reading a book, hanging out with family and friends, walking your dog outside, my go-to, to de-stress, meditation, whatever it is. The more we can de-stress our life or kind of bring down stressors both internally and externally, the better. Another thing that a lot of people do, once again, most of my clients, the lifestyle clients, they're eating out and they're also consuming alcoholic beverages. The biggest thing is portion control and still tracking those calories. So when we go out to eat, I think a good way to do that is, once again, the more you track, the more you can get a good eye for what certain things look like. But if you're going out to a restaurant, let's say you're going to a mom and pop shop and it's an Italian restaurant, you might not have those macros, but what you can do, you can go to a publicly listed, or I guess I should say just a national chain that has to publicly list their nutritional information. So if you're going to an Italian restaurant, go ahead and look up Olive Garden's nutritional information. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a good way for you to continue to track your calories. Just go ahead and make your best guess, but I would say if you are taking this seriously, you should probably only be eating out maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and most of your meals should be made at home where you can track things, you can be accurate with your protein intake, as well as, once again, the more we eat at home, probably the better we are eating in terms of our fat intake as well as our whole foods. Another big thing is tell your family and friends, or make them aware that you are on this fat loss journey or you're trying to transform your health. 99% of the time they will be supportive. If they're not, I think that tells you more about their character than your own. So inform your family and friends and let them know that you have this goal and that you would like their support in it, because at the end of the day, consistency and time is the key to success. Once again, I'll clear this off. Consistency and time is the key to success. If you stay in a calorie deficit long enough, you will lose the body fat. if you are consistent with your intake, with your workouts, with your steps, you will lose the body fat. You can make adjustments. Once again, I try to keep this short and sweet. Any questions, leave comments down below. But I'll actually make a follow-up video exactly how I personally lost 30 pounds last year during my bodybuilding prep, so you can see some examples on how I made adjustments during that time. Without further ado, I'm gonna end things here. Once again, any questions or comments, leave them down in the description below. I wanna make this hopefully around 10 minutes, so it's a little bit more efficient and without getting into all the nitty-gritty, since I think once again it can be a lot when you dive into every specific example for every single specific person. But I feel like this was a pretty good broad plan to lose fat in time for summer in 2024. Otherwise, make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. But if you do want some personal help, I do offer one-on-one coaching, link down in the description below if you want to apply to that. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.